We recently got our hands on a lengthy early demo of 2 Point Museum, the latest in the whimsical 2 Point management games. After a few hours in the shoes of a curious curator, building and managing my museums, I think they might just be on point with this one. Or should I say, on 2 points? Because, it's 2 Point Museum? No? Okay, whatever.
The museum has a new exhibit, but we don't know what it is yet.
If you've never played either 2 Point Hospital or Campus before, these are spiritual successors to the classic theme games, like Theme Park and Theme Hospital. And if you've never played those before, well, they're basically just silly management games with a strong focus on humour and charm. This time out, as the curator of a museum, the focus shifts from educating students and treating diseases to educating students and creating exhibits, while also entertaining them. You also treat injuries and ailments too, but we'll get to that in a second. The basics of designing rooms, placing objects to improve said rooms, and hiring staff to take care of all your various business remains mostly the same, but there's enough twists and new ideas sprinkled in that classic formula that make 2 Point Museum feel like a much more interesting beast. Firstly, you won't be building as many rooms as you would in your university or hospital. Aside from some staff, training and research rooms, and of course bathrooms and gift shops, okay yes, there's a few rooms, but in general, museums are more open plan spaces than hospitals and schools, with each exhibit leading into the next. The setting just feels like a much more interesting and creative space to work with, where I cared more about the whole and how everything flowed and tied together. It also felt like there's just a lot more room for creative flair on offer here, with more customization options from wallpapers, floor types, decals, and all sorts of decorations that can really bring your museum to life. I always found decorating kind of broken in previous 2 Point games, where you just end up spamming every wall with paintings and items to level up rooms, but here, I felt like I was actually designing a cool museum rather than trying to exploit the system to get a rating up. As you decorate around each exhibit, you'll improve its buzz. You also need to liberally scatter info signs that can tell guests about the piece and help improve how much knowledge it imparts on their squishy little brains. All of which will add to how much spare change your guests are willing to dump into nearby donation bins, which is your main source of income, besides of course your ticket sales and every museum's cash cow, the gift shop. You'll also get the ability to create special guided tours, where you can design little tour routes for various exhibits, and you'll also get bonuses for making sure there's a cohesive theme to the items in the tour, and it's not too long or too boring. There's also children and school groups that will come into your museum, and in what I thought was a pretty clever twist, kids will refuse to get information from signs because, reading is boring apparently. Instead, you'll need to research and create special interactive exhibits for them in order to trick them into learning. Ha! Take that, dang kids, you're having fun and you're learning. Get educated! Getting all those exhibits into your museum is perhaps the biggest shake-up to the 2 Point formula. Instead of just researching or buying them from the menu, you'll have to be constantly sending out teams into the world to go on expeditions where they'll find and bring back curios for you to display. As you progress, you'll come across more advanced and dangerous expeditions too that will offer better exhibits, but have a chance of inflicting your team with a disease or ailment that you'll need to treat. You're able to train up someone on the team to have special skills that can help minimize dangers and allow you to navigate new areas. You'll also be able to create special items for them to take that can provide a bonus, like letting you bring back 2 things instead of 1. And you'll occasionally be given little dilemmas where you'll need to choose how your team deal with a problem. Sure, it's just a few simple little clicks on a menu and a map, but it's a welcome extra gameplay loop that adds a bit of surprise as you open up each crate that comes back to see what they've brought. I mean, who doesn't like opening presents, right? There's also good reason to send expeditions back to areas and get multiple versions of anything you've discovered, as you're then able to sacrifice that item in the name of research, which will ultimately let you improve that item's knowledge level, which, of course, means more donations. But more importantly, it'll increase your enlightenment in that item's respective theme, like prehistory for example, which will unlock some new items for you and special perks you can attach to exhibits that can do things like increase their buzz, entertainment value, or make them get less dusty. In our demo, we had access to 3 different museums, and each had a special theme that brought a little something different to the gameplay. The first was all about prehistory and had lots of fossils and dinosaur skeletons, which were incomplete and required multiple expeditions to find all the bones. Or you'll find frozen items that you'll need to keep cool lest they melt. The next was a museum of haunted objects, my personal favourite, where your expeditions could go find various ghosts that you would then have to put in a special ghost room, which you then had to fill with items to keep them amused, lest you want irate spirits running amok in your museum. And finally, there was a museum for fish, aka an aquarium. This let you build fish tanks that need to be a certain temperature and provide certain food depending on which fish you keep in it, lest you want them going belly up.
Fish exhibit has swum its last length. There's plenty more where that came from.
I did also have one type of starfish thing that just seemed to roam the halls of my museum freely, which is probably a bug, although to be honest, wouldn't be mad if it was a feature. Look at this little dude just floating around. Already, with just those 3 options there, felt like there was some great variety to the museums and exhibits, so I'm keen to see what other sort of museums end up in the final game. There's also a very welcome change to how each level ties together. In previous 2-point games, you'd just get a series of objectives that would let you get your hospital or school up to 3 stars, and that would be the level completed, and you'd have no reason to return to it. Here, to get your star rating up, you'll need to get your curator class up first, which you'll do by going out and creating new museums, so you can then return and expand your original museum with new items. It does help it feel like you're building up a whole empire of museums, each with its own character and purpose, rather than just ticking off a bunch of individual levels. When it comes to the management, the 2-point games have always been on the more easy breezy side of things, and that's no different here. I never struggled to turn a profit, and any staff problems were easily fixed with a pay rise or a new hire. That said, there was enough spinning plates between managing expeditions, expanding my museums, and taking care of the constant stream of objectives that I was happily engaged the entire time. So there was at least enough depth here to keep me interested, and hopefully it can hold my attention across the whole game. All up, I came away from my hands-on feeling like 2-Point Museum is shaping up to be the best 2-point entry yet. The series' signature style and humour is in full swing. The building and customization is more engaging and rewarding than ever, and there's just enough new wrinkles in the gameplay to keep the series feeling fresh. This is one exhibit management fans may not want to miss.